Old man ruled the world. Well, not really right now.
Okay, we're going live. We're going live. So if everyone could turn their camera off, and when the video ends, then Kevin will turn his on. Thank you.
Hello, this is Dr. Smiley. Welcome to the Smile Channel. We are so excited, as you can see from our backdrop, to be starting the Black Bold Leaders of Courage, Authority, and Knowledge, Hour of Power. These are my two partners, my sisters, my fam, and we are opening this event up. It's 28 days long, and this is the beginning, and you're going to see some amazing speakers, hear about some amazing leaders who have changed our world, and the power of inspiration. So I'd like to first turn it over to Tanisha Carroll, our director of events, who is coordinating these 28 days of well over 100 speakers. And of course, Dr. Roz, who is going to open up the prayer, which has become part of our institution of every single event. So Tanisha.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here on this first day of February. We are absolutely elated to have this opportunity to celebrate Black History Month in this fashion with Black Hour of Power, bold leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge. And what you can expect this month is to hear from leaders, young adults, even young people from all over the world who are going to share historical figures who have influenced and impacted and inspired them. And these are people who maybe live in your neighborhood or have lived in your neighborhood at some point, and now they are making history or have made history. The wonderful thing I love about this is that we're not only talking about our people from the 60s and the 70s, but we're talking about people who are making Black history today. They are changing the world right now. And so we are focused on amazing historical figures and people who are currently making history, and they get to speak. Each individual gets to speak for 8 minutes and say whatever they want to say about the amazingness of their historical figure, how they made history, and how that person personally impacted and inspired them. And I am super excited, because I'm going to talk about Toni Morrison. And she really encouraged me when I was young and without even knowing it. And she made a lot of history during my but high school years was when I really began to know about her. And so I am excited about the opportunity to hear about so many other amazing Black leaders.
And I just want to echo the fact that this is going to be very interesting, how these people that we know and love in our life, we didn't know that there was someone that they looked up to that caused them to be a better person. And I hope that the three of us inspire people that maybe one day they'll say, I watched that show and now I play bigger in the world. I make the world better. And I do want to move to the side for a second to say that is a logo that was created by Daniel Pedamonte, and he has done so many of the book covers. And our intention, by the way, is every time we do an event that's powerful, that it ends up being a book. And it's in God's hands, but we believe that this information is so valuable, it should be legacized. So with no further ado, Dr. Roz, you're looking cool. Oh, by the way, there's one more thing I want to say. Dr. Roz and I would like to say Black History Month starts on the 1st of February because we have a birthday girl. And that birthday girl you just heard from, Tanisha Carroll. So we are so excited. I was very excited when I said, let's start the 1st of February, and go, well, that's my birthday. I said, well, then this is a good sign. Roz, go ahead, take it away.
Yes. Well, blessings to February. So long, January 2026, right? It's been moving right along and fleeting. And what more than to hang out with folks when it happens to be a bold Black leaders. I did 2 B's, right? Bold Black leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge. And what's so awesome about this is because of our friend, our visionary, our business partner, Dr. Ken Rashawn. because as far as I can say, he sees rainbows every single day. He sees lovely rainbows every single day. And if you notice Tanisha, Minister Tanisha's name, and also notice my name, you see, she mentioned Toni Morrison. Well, guess what? Minister Tanisha Carroll is who I elected to be able to talk about being Black, a Black leader who is of authority, who is of courage and knowledge. So stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. So I'm going to open us up in prayer. Father God, we just come before you. We honor you as the author of history and the giver of purpose. During this Black History Month, we thank you for Black leaders who have raised men and women of authority, anchored in righteousness, of courage, forged through resistance and resilience, and of knowledge, sharpened by wisdom, truth, and discernment. We declare that their voices were not accidental, their assignments were not in vain, their sacrifices were not wasted. Strengthen today's leaders to walk boldly without fear, to speak even with love, and to lead with humility and excellence. Cover them with divine protection, the ancestors and the new of this day and age. Give clarity of mind and purity of heart. Let their legacy ignite future generations to lead with integrity, justice, innovation, and faith. May their lives continue to testify that when you call, you equip, and when you position, you empower. We thank you for the shoulders we stand on and the paths they pave. We move forward with gratitude, responsibility, and vision in this February month, which is really a everyday, each and every year. In Jesus' mighty name, we say amen, amen, and amen.
Amen.
Man.
I would like to just share the part that maybe is not being said about this is that people of all races, religions are speaking this month. And the reason they're speaking is because as a human race, we are stronger when we celebrate each other. And you're going to be invited, if you'd like, to participate, to share, and to wake up the world that every single person matters on this planet. And when you celebrate someone that you don't relate to, you actually learn why they not only belong, but why they can partner with you. And imagine just speaking English. You can only speak to so many people on the planet, but add the language of Spanish to someone who can't speak English. Now you've just furthered your reach and your communication. A smile is the universal expression of love and acceptance. And we have the Smile Channel here to actually awaken you and inspire you that anybody can change the world. We are honoring 168 Black leaders that have done so.
Thank you all so much for being with us today. And we look forward to some of you signing up to be a part of this very special event. So make sure that you click into the description box and click the link and join the conversation. Join the conversation and share it. Share this link out so that you every day did we say that every day in February? Every day we're going to be sharing for 1 hour about amazing Black leaders, and you can be a part of it. So we look forward to hearing from you and seeing the impact that this is having on you and your community. Join us. We'll see you soon.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Wayne Johnson, and I am the founder and chief executive of the Johnson Leadership Group. I live in the state of Maryland, and I have a dynamic team here with me today, men and women that I have worked with and worked for over the years. Keisha Jennings is an entrepreneur. Bertha Robinson is also an entrepreneur, and Robert Kennedy III will be with us, a dynamic global speaker in his own rights. And when they come, they will introduce themselves. We also have Ralph Randall. Him and I have a lot in common. 30 plus years with the federal government, and then we decided to go ahead and retire. I am intrigued by Maya Angelou because of her literary prowess, because of her leadership, her beautiful smile, and from where she came. And as a fellow author, when it comes to Black History Month, and quite frankly, every day, I think about her and her impact, not just here in the United States, not just in Central America and South America and Canada, but throughout the Caribbean, throughout Europe, Greenland and Iceland, all the way over to the 54 nations in Africa, Russia, China, and not to mention Australia and New Zealand as well. Her global impact made a difference. Many people don't know this fact about Maya Angelou. We know the name. We're very familiar with I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, very, very popular. But she was born Marguerite Ann Johnson. And she got her nickname Maya actually from her brother, Bailey Jr. Many people don't know that. But I've been inspired and I've been motivated and I've been encouraged because she really helped us all to understand the merits of being literate. And it's something that some of us take for granted, but we shouldn't. And I've been writing books since 2001 as a principal author and also as a contributing author. I'm up to 24 and I probably have 10 more in me, but she is a true inspiration. Here are some things that she did to make an impact, not just in Black America, but in all of America. She gave voice to Black American experiences through poetry. It just really, really echoed throughout the Black community, but also throughout all of the communities across the country, addressing trauma, addressing racism, resilience, and identity, and language that was both accessible and profound. That's one. Something else that she did to really, really make us remember her, because she passed away back in 2014. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings transformed American literature. 1969 autobiography, it broke barriers by opening up conversations around childhood trauma. She had trauma as a child. And the story is long and it's rich and it's transforming, but she also addressed, again, racism and self-discovery. And she became a staple throughout schools and libraries, encouraging generations to read personal narratives. Doesn't stop there, though. She elevated literacy through accessible oral style poetry, because poetry is the spoken word. And so her rhythmic, spoken word friendly style made poetry less intimidating and more inviting, helping her readers and listeners who might otherwise disengage from literary texts. If I take you back to 2008, the inauguration of the 44th president of the United States, there she was with her beautiful smile, and she cited her poetry, and it heightened the level of awareness for each and every one of us as it relates to having a thirst and a hunger to read. We discover that when we read, it opens up the mind, it opens up creativity, imagination, ingenuity, and innovation when we read. We must be adamant about increasing the literacy rate, not just here in our nation, but around the world. So she promoted reading and writing as tools of empowerment. She used public performances to bring poetry to mass audiences. Maya Angelou was the first Black woman to write and produce a major Hollywood film. Many people don't know that. Not only did you not know her real name, but you probably didn't realize this. By writing the screenplay for Georgia In 1972, she expanded literacy influence into film, showing how storytelling and literacy extends across media. It was actually Bill Clinton's 1993 inauguration on the pulse of the morning that she read and introduced poetry to millions of Americans who might not otherwise engage in it. She was definitely an educator and a mentor. She expanded the school curricula nationwide. And last but not least, as we remember this dynamic woman here during Black History Month, but every month and every day throughout the year, she modeled lifelong learning and intellectual curiosity. And we are leaders, we are role models, we are examples to our family, to our neighbors, in our churches, at the workplace, and our social and civic organizations. But we should always send a message, both in word and deed, that leaders are learners, and never let your thirst quench and never let your hunger satisfy you when it comes to learning. Despite early interruptions in her formal education, Maya Angelou became a prolific leader, a prolific writer, and a multilingual speaker, demonstrating that literacy is a lifelong pursuit, not limited by how we grow up. Thank you so much. I hope that you've received a lot of great and new information from this. And at this time, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Keisha Jennings. She is the principal and CEO of KJ Associates, and she will be our next speaker.
Good morning. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everyone, for having me. As Kevin said, I am the principal and chief strategist of K. Jennings and Associates, based in Annapolis, Maryland. I have the pleasure of consulting with businesses in every industry, every sector, for the purpose of change. I am a growth agent. Excuse me. I'm a growth agent, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is my inspiration, has been my inspiration since I was a young child. Simply because, well, a few things. His foundation of faith has always been very impressive. As a faith-based individual myself, from both my paternal and maternal side, that's always been the head of my life. And every walk, every journey, every thought has been about my faith, an unwavering faith. And as I studied Martin Luther King Jr. as a child, I noticed that he was very strong in his convictions, but he served God in so many ways, whether he was in a pulpit or on the platform or on the sidewalk talking to others. God was before him, and his faith led him through adversity. Fearless, never wavered. He was a family man. Therefore, community for him was organic. And as a small business consultant serving a myriad of industries and sectors, I believe in community, inclusivity. I can't do anything that I desire to do and or pray for without partnerships and community. He led communities nationwide. He led communities globally. His footprint was respected, even in diversity. He had respect across the lanes, across genders, across nationalities, ages. He led that footprint, and it was unwavering and it was steady. And I model myself after that same, I would say, footprint and desire as I commune with others every day. There is, whether it's a janitor or the CEO, I have the same posture in what I have to do to be an example to community that we can accomplish great things together. We're not an individual in this world. Even today, we are still commuting for a greater purpose, despite what may look like some days, despite the adversity that we might see against racial lines, genders, classifications. there are those of us who still believe in community. And I'm a beacon of light myself as an entrepreneur and believing in community across many lines, accepting others, taking a moment to speak to others, to sow into a person's life to make sure that their moment after my encounter will be better than the former encounter before we met. So therefore, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has inspired me for many, many years. And still to this very day, I study him as if I'm just getting to know him because he led in so many ways that was so inspirational. Therefore, I don't have any other model but Dr. Martin Luther King on this Black History Month to talk about the many things that he did for others. So as I continue to lead in the capacity in which I'm blessed to do so, I'll continue to model my faith, inclusivity, and partnerships. And I'm always open to engaging others. Despite your background, we all have something to bring to the table, and we should respect that as we commune for a greater purpose. There are so many opportunities and engagement that is for all of us to serve on a platform, no matter where you come from, your background, what you have done, who your family members are, how much money you have, what your faith base or your nationality, your denomination. We all have a heart of servanthood. And Dr. Martin Luther King demonstrated that every single day, whether he was speaking to one or millions, he served with his heart. So we continue to lead that way and serve with our heart. I truly believe that we will survive any obstacles that are faced our way, no matter how high that giant may look. All we have to do is just have that mustard seed faith, as Dr. Martin Luther King did often. And he had such an impact just because he stayed steady, that steady hand. So inclusivity, community, partnerships, we're all family. And therefore, I love the opportunity to let everyone know on this call, participating today, as long as we stay connected with our hearts and our partnerships, there's nothing we can accomplish. So thank you for the opportunity today to support this platform and Black History Month. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. will continue to be my hero. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Keisha. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Our next speaker, another great friend of mine, a professional, Bertha Robinson. She will introduce herself, but she is an entrepreneur and a global coach. Over to you, Bertha.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And greetings, my family. It's an honor to be with you all today. I am Bertha Robinson, based in Somerset, New Jersey. I'm the founder of an executive coaching and consulting firm named Star One Professional Services, and it's an honor to be with you all today. Thank you for the invitation. So today, I'm going to let you know who I'm representing in just a second and who I'm honoring, but I'm going to start by saying this, that this individual taught us that our people and our ancestors wrote history in advance. So we knew what we were stepping into. So when we're talking about Black History Month, we're going to take a focus on what we can do today to secure our future. So yes, our power is unity, and this is the case for collective economic strength. So once again, I want to say that I'm honored to be here with you today, that Black History Month is not a look back, but it should be taken as a mirror in the present. What can we do today to move us into the future? And sometimes when we reflect, that reflection asks of us uncomfortable questions. One of those questions was posed clearly by the individual that I'm thankful for in the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He wrote in his book, Message to the Black Man in America, and asked us to look at something directly, unapologetically, and what's still relevant today. That if we want freedom, justice, and equality for our communities, for our people, we must first be united. And unity is incomplete without economic independence. And that has always been, and that is our strategy today. So we have always been a powerful people, and our power shouldn't be fragmented, but it is fragmented if it's controlled. However, we vote together, but we spend apart. We protest together, but we purchase separately. We speak about unity, but we practice individual survival. And survival alone has never built a future. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad made something very clear to all of us, that no group of people can rise above the condition of our economic foundation. If we as a people don't control our businesses, our resources, our labor, and our systems, then our freedom will always be conditional. So let me say it plainly. If we do not control how our money and our communities flow, someone else will. And they will always decide who thrives and who merely survives. This isn't about exclusion. This is about self-determination. And our unity should no longer be a slogan. Our unity is and has always been an operating system. When we take an honest look at our history, our greatest moments of progress were never individual achievements. We can all bear witness they were collective movements. We just bore witness to the great works of Dr. Martin Luther King and the great Maya Angelou. May God be pleased with both of them. They were at the forefront of collective movement. That's the legacy we should reflect on in this month of Black history and move forward. We saw that in our history from mutual aid societies, from our Black-owned banks, from cooperative businesses, and from faith-based communities that pooled our resources when no one else would lend to us. Those were not accidents. Those were intentional economic decisions that were rooted in unity. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad challenged us and still challenging us today to stop waiting for validations from systems that were never designed to serve us. He called for ownership and discipline and self-reliance and shared responsibility. This message still makes a few people uncomfortable today, but it requires action, not applause. Again, economic unity is going to require some hard questions. Who do we bank with? Who do we hire? Who do we seek out to mentor? Who do we buy from when it costs a little bit more, but it builds a lot more in the end? It means shifting from convenience to consciousness. And yes, this is harder, but this is what the time requires. Comfort has never been the birthplace of our progress. And collective economic power does not mean everyone does the same thing, but it means that we're all pulling in the same direction. So some of us are entrepreneurs here. Some of you are educators. Some may be investors, organizers. Some are in corporate spaces, and some are leaders in our homes. Every single role matters, but no role is in isolation. Unity does not erase our differences. It aligns our purpose. And when purpose is aligned, our money flows intentionally. So I'd like to share with you just a few statistics that I'm sure we're very aware of, but it's going to be a reminder I'm taught is a blessing. So Black Americans collectively have $2.1 trillion in buying power. This is a combination of income available for spending and consumption, according to the most recent Nielsen report. Our consumer expenditure surveys estimate that our Black households spend about $835 billion, with a B, dollars, and that was in 2019. It's close to 900 billion plus in recent years, with projections growing towards 1.7 trillion by 2030. And that's only 4 years away. Black consumer spending on beauty and personal care was approximately 9.4 billion in 2023, outpacing growth in these categories. So despite strong spending, wealth accumulation in our communities is constrained due to historical and structural factors. And that's the reminder that we have in the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Meaning our dollars spent don't always translate into community wealth. So what's the truth that we need to face this Black History Month and moving forward if we use this as a mirror today? That a community that does not circulate its dollars is a community that cannot sustain itself. A community that does not invest in its own talent will always rent opportunity from others. A community that does not plan together will always react separately. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, again, warned us about this decades ago, and he spoke about the illusion of inclusion without ownership, about the danger of being visible but not powerful, about the trap of believing that proximity equals progress. Visibility without control is not power. Access without ownership is not freedom. And our representation without economics is symbolism. Our unity demands more than an agreement. It really demands discipline. It asks us to delay gratification for generational gain, to support each other before we criticize each other, to build before we broadcast. And yes, it asks us to trust again, to tear down those old barriers and to carefully and strategically, but intentionally unite. because division has always been the cheapest weapon against our powerful people. Unity costs more, but boy, does it pay in dividends. And as we kick off Black History Month, let's be clear that our ancestors did not survive so we can remain fragmented. They did not endure so we could stay dependent. They did not sacrifice so we could settle for symbolic wins. They believed in a future that required cooperation. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not offer comfort, he offered a challenge. And that challenge still stands today. If we want real power, we must build together. If we want economic strength, we must circulate together. If we want freedom, we must commit together. Unity is not optional, it's operational. So my call to all of us today is simple. Before this month ends, make one intentional economic decision that strengthens our collective. Support one Black-owned business consistently, not occasionally, but something that we do all the time, and then build upon that. Mentor one emerging leader, collaborate instead of compete, and invest where your values live. Because individual success in a struggling community is not victory. It's survival with a better seat. Because unity is not something we talk about once a year. It's something we should practice daily. And when we do, our power stops being theoretical, it becomes unstoppable. And that's what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad reminds us. And one of the things that we could do is take, we started off with Dr. Maya Angelou and being an author, take a look at the books that he's written, which is a guide plan, a strategic plan for our community. Before I close, I just want to share from the scriptures of Ecclesiastes. It's Ecclesiastes 4, verses 9 through 12. And I'm just going to read from the first section. Two are better than one, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. So let's come together in unity, in honoring and remembering and in moving forward what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is asking us to do as a collective, not just in Black History Month, but let's continue to write our history in advance and move forward. I really want to thank you all for this opportunity. I'm so grateful to God for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Let's build wisely and move forward together to move our communities forward and to leave a legacy for our future generations. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Bertha. Beautiful. Thank you. Economic unity. Our next speaker, another dear friend that I've known for a number of years, Robert Kennedy III. He will introduce himself, but he is a global speaker, has served in a number of leadership positions. Robert, over to you.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, before we get too deep, can we agree on something? Black history is undefeated, like absolutely undefeated. Every time I learn something new about Black history, I just sit back and I go, well, of course we did. Hey, y'all, I'm Robert Kennedy III, RK3, that's me. I run a company called Kinetic Communications where we teach business leaders how to tell their stories in person and on video. I want to start out with a little quiz. I'm going to share a few facts, and if you know them, type, of course we did, in the comments. All right? Because Black history is basically God's way of saying they tried it, but look how we did it anyway. So let's start with this. Did you know that in 1870, Hiram Rhodes Revels became the first African-American elected to the U.S. Senate? 1870, just 5 years after Lincoln did the Emancipation Proclamation, after slavery was ended. Somebody said to Hiram, you know what? Run in the election. And he said, all right, bet. The result? Historical. Now, let's go with another one. Here's one that makes me smile. Maya Angelou. Yes, the Maya Angelou that Dr. Kevin and Sister Bertha already mentioned. Did you know that she was once the first Black female cable car conductor in San Francisco? Yeah. And the way that she got this job, let's just say the resume was inspirational. She combined a little bit of fact, a little bit of faith, and a little bit of they don't need to know all of that. Yeah. In her book, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings, she says, on a blissful day after submitting my resume, I was hired. Listen, that's Black excellence, y'all. Now here's a fact that should be in every textbook, but somehow it isn't. The practice of vaccinations was brought to America by an enslaved African man named Onesimus. Now, Boston is getting wrecked by smallpox. It's 1721. People are dying. Doctors are clueless. And this slave, Onesimus, was purchased in 1706 by a man named Cotton Mather, a prominent Puritan minister. Now, Mather didn't really trust Onesimus, but he knew that this dude was clever. So sickness is spreading, and Onesimus is like, yeah, we've been doing inoculation back home. So Mather takes this information to a Dr. Zabdiel Boylston, who got a lot of pushback against the idea, but he managed, after implementing this, to successfully inoculate 240 people during the smallpox epidemic. Imagine being enslaved and still being the smartest one in the room. Yeah, that's a little bit of power. And then there was Hattie McDaniel. If you believe this, or if you knew this, just type "of course we did" in the chat or in the comments. Hattie McDaniel was the first Black person to win an Oscar. She won the award of Best Supporting Actress for Gone with the Wind. Historic. But get this, she wasn't even allowed to attend the premiere of the movie that she won. So let me get this straight. Win the award, but can't sit in the seats. Yeah. Let's do a couple more. Everybody knows Rosa Parks, right? Let's say, of course we did, if you know Rosa Parks. Yeah. All right, there we go. But 9 months before Rosa, there was a 15-year-old named Claudette Colvin. 15. She was on the bus and she refused to give up her seat. She got arrested. She got thrown in jail. The movement was moving, but before the movement had a marketing team, they made some decisions about how to operate. The NAACP and some other civil rights groups, they considered rallying around Colvin's case in their campaign against Alabama's segregation laws, but they decided against it before focusing on Rosa Parks 9 months later. Last one, John Baxter Taylor. Y'all might know the name Jesse Owens, but did you know that in 1908, way before Jesse Owens, John Baxter Taylor was the first African-American to win an Olympic gold medal. He won it in the 1600 meters. So yeah, Black history is deep, it's bold, it's powerful. But here's what I want to talk about today. Black History Month is not just about knowing the story. It's about knowing your story. Because some of the most important history that you're ever going to discover is sitting quietly in your own family, in your own name, and the people who came before you, the people who didn't make it into a textbook, but still made a way. And I learned that through my grandfather. My grandfather's name was Robert the First. Now, when you're a kid, grandparents feel like grandparents, right? They feel like they were born 73 years old, holding peppermints and giving out life advice, right? You don't really think about them being young. You don't really picture them with dreams. You don't really picture them with struggle or a story. And growing up, I knew the basics. I knew that my grandfather was born in Jamaica. I knew that he worked hard. I knew that he was about providing. And as I grew up, I would hear my dad tell stories. My dad would say things like, yeah, your grandfather, when I was young, he left our family and he went to England to work. And as a kid, I heard that, but I couldn't really grasp it. I couldn't really picture it. England, work. Okay, I'd never been to England at the time, so it felt like some movie that I hadn't seen yet. Interesting, but distant. Then later, in about 2015, we were celebrating my grandfather's 100th birthday. Yeah, century. That is crazy. That's a privilege, right? My grandfather passed away in 2019 at 104. We were celebrating his 100th birthday in 2015, and I found out something from him. He was sitting. There was a group of us sitting around him. He was holding court, holding caucus, and I found out something that changed everything. My grandfather didn't just leave Jamaica. He traveled for work during World War II. Let me say that again, World War II. And one of the places that he worked was in Akron, Ohio. Now, why does that matter? Well, it matters because I know Akron. I've been to Akron. I've visited Akron. I can picture Akron. I can see the factories. I can see the cold. I can see the streets. And suddenly, my grandfather wasn't just another abstract story. He became a real person in a real place, a Black immigrant moving through America during a world war, doing whatever it took to provide for his family. And when I learned that, I saw him differently. There was a little bit more pride in me, because bravery hits different when it has your last name. Courage feels different when it sits at your kitchen table. It's one thing to read about resilience, but it's another thing to realize that resilience raised you. My grandfather, Robert I, that man was building a life so that generations later, I could be here talking to you. And that's why your story matters. Because knowing your story, it gives you identity. It grounds you. It reminds you that you didn't start from scratch. You started from sacrifice. You started from movement. You started from survival. And sometimes we walk around with our shoulders slumped, feeling stuck, feeling behind, feeling like struggle is new, like nobody else went through it. And then you learn what your people endured. Your people, not just the global diaspora, but your people. What they endured, where they traveled, what they survived. And you realize, oh, I come from strength. I come from fighters. I come from builders. I come from a story. And this isn't just about family trivia, right? This is about legacy, because the stories you know shape the life that you live. And the stories that you don't know, they leave you disconnected. Some of us know so much more about celebrities. We know about the Hiltons and the Kardashians and the Menages. We know so much more about them than we know about our own bloodline. We can name 5 Beyonce albums, but we can't name our great grandmother's journey. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. One of those stories is entertaining. The other is empowering. And Black History Month is beautiful because it reminds us of the giants, the Revels, the Colvins, the Angelos, the Onesimuses. But it should also remind you to go find the giants in your own family. Go ask the questions. Call your elders. Dig through the photos. Sit down and say, tell me what it was like. Because one day somebody's going to ask about you, and the story that you leave behind is going to become somebody else's strength. Imagine your grandchild saying, I didn't know my grandfather did that. I didn't know my grandmother survived that. I didn't know my family overcame that. That's legacy. And legacy doesn't start with fame. It starts with remembering. So yeah, let's celebrate Black history. Let's honor the legends like my grandfather, Robert I. But don't just learn history. Go find yourself inside of it, because history isn't just what happened. History is who happened. And Black History Month is not just a month, it's a mirror. So my hope, my friends, is that you walk away today, not just with facts, but with a question. What's my story? Where did I come from? What will I pass down? Because everything you do becomes more powerful when you finally own your voice and you finally own your story. God bless y'all. Thank you for having me.
All right, Robert, thank you. And thank God for Robert I. Awesome. Our next speaker is going to be Ralph Randall. I mentioned a little bit earlier that Ralph and I have a great deal in contact. We are both retired federal government employees, and I'm going to let Ralph now introduce himself and share with us now. Over to you, Ralph.
Good morning. And it's a pleasure to be here today. It's a pleasure to be here today. I want to thank so much Dr. Michelle Mraz, who in fact introduced me to Dr. Smiley Ken Rashawn and opened this great opportunity that I'm enjoying right now.
Mr. Randall, we
Yes.
cannot see you.
You cannot see me. Yeah, I got my camera. I'm looking at it. My camera is on. You can hear me, but you can't see me. I see the camera. It says it's all good. I'm doing that. I am. Oh, this is ridiculous. Ralph Randall. Look at God, Lord. Open it up, fella. Video settings says.
Well, we might need to pause for the cause and bring
Okay.
everyone on, as I think you're our last speaker. And we may have to come back and try again, Mr. Ralph. So if everybody could open their camera.
It says the host camera is disabled by the host.
Oh.
Is it on? In one little switch. Is it
Okay.
on? You see it?
Hello, we see you. Thank you.
Oh, thank God for goodness. I did pray this morning, and hopefully he heard it. Again, I'm so happy to be here this morning with this body. In the position that I'm in, it feels like just the perfect position, such a great build-up. Again, I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Morose for introducing me to Dr. Smiley, and Dr. Smiley for this awesome opportunity this morning. My person is my grandmother, my bold leader, my camera that took over the screen, my bold leader. Okay. A bold leader of authority, courage, and knowledge that I chose is Eva Marie Johnson. She's my grandmother, a woman who helped me see the awesomeness in others. And in doing so, she showed me that bold leadership truly looks like what it really looks like. Leadership rooted in authority, shaped by courage, and guided by knowledge. I can still hear her voice saying, "Grandson, act like you know better." Eva Celeste Dare was born in 1919 in Calvert County, Maryland. She's my mother's mother. I can still see her dressed in a white nurse's uniform. White stockings, white, beautiful, bright dress, white headdress. She looked like discipline, purpose, and dignity all wrapped in one. Around that same time in the mid-1960s, the teachings of Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam were becoming more visible. Elijah Muhammad taught that how a man presents himself affects how he thinks and how others treat him. And it wasn't complicated. Clean clothes, grooming, what you eat, structured daily habits. These weren't just ideas. I saw them lived out in my grandparents' home. I see my grandpa Henry polishing grandmother's shoes while listening to the Orioles game and watching football on the black and white TV. And I could see my grandmother preparing herself for work with the same neatness and consistency she expected from the 9 grandchildren that she sent to Catholic school. In her house, being prepared was non-negotiable. Homework done, clothes clean, lunch laid out. The next day started the night before. Some people call that basic, but champions like Michael Jordan or Simone Biles will tell you mastering the fundamentals is the foundation of excellence. And as Allen Iverson learned, ignoring fundamentals like practice can bring consequences. I learned that lesson firsthand. One morning, my cousin and I were running late and missed our ride to school. So we walked, and somewhere along that walk, we made a fundamental error. We decided to take the day off. We hid behind a bush 3 blocks from school, never imagining Grandma would drive the walking route. But when we heard a car stop, we heard our names, and we knew Eva Marie Johnson didn't have to raise her voice. The authority in her tone sent my cousin running to school and sent me running home. I won't share the details of the consequences, but I will say this. That day, I learned that failing to do what you know is right always comes with a cost. Grandma wasn't just preparing children for school. She was preparing us for life. Years later, in 1987, when I bought my first home, I told her about it. She asked 2 simple questions. Where is it? Who owns it? When I told her the owners of the lumber company owned the house, she surprised me. She knew them. She knew them. And she said, go tell them I said, give my grandson a deal. That was her instruction. And I walked away with a 14% reduction. That was her influence. That was her relationship capital. As I grew older, her wisdom kept revealing itself. I remember sitting at the kitchen table in the house she helped me buy, reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. She walked in and said boldly, anyone who has a problem with color is a fool. I asked, why you say that, Grandma? She said, have you ever seen a pack of dogs get upset because the black dog is playing with the sandy brown dog and the brown dog is playing with the white dog? If dogs don't get upset about color, why would a human with a brain do it? Everything that God makes comes in multiple shapes, sizes, and colors. Flowers, birds, fish, rocks, even green aren't green. What color is green? Look at the shades of your grandmother's children. They go from as light as white to dark as night. That's why we truly are colored people. So act like you know. She went on to explain that Harriet Tubman wasn't caught up on color either. Harriet didn't care who was driving wagons full of people to freedom. She cared about the mission, those lessons, the lumber company owners, the pack of dogs, Harriet Tubman, were all about the same things: the power of relationships. Bold leaders nurture healthy relationships and stay focused on the mission. When I was asked to choose a historical bold leader of authority, courage, and knowledge, it wasn't easy. I love history. I love the brilliance of what our people have done, what colored people, as Grandma would say, have accomplished. My list included Benjamin Banneker, Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Francis Fanny Jackson Compton, George Washington Carver, Thurgood Marshall, and one who I really like is Kurt L. Smoke, the 47th mayor of Baltimore City, the first African American elected for 3 terms, a Rhodes Scholar, and went national in the 1980s, late 1980s, for decriminalization of drugs, treating the drug problem as a health problem. A powerful person. But in the end, I chose Eva Marie Johnson. Why? What did she do to make history? She lived the lessons she taught. She embodied them. And she did it so well that I picked them up. How did she inspire me to be a bold leader of authority, courage, and knowledge? She planted it in me, the ability to succeed by being prepared, being consistent, being helpful, and seeking help when I don't know. So during Tutoring Tuesday, I confidently share her success formulas. I've lived them, I've validated them. And now the teenage Black boys that I tutor math to are benefiting from them. Thank you.
All right, Ralph, beautiful. Thank you so much for Eva Marie Johnson and bold leadership. So we've had an opportunity now to hear from 4 dynamic speakers. I started out with just giving you an update as it relates to Black History Month on the significance of Maya Angelou. We've heard from Keisha, who shared with us some words and comments about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who in 1964 won the Nobel Peace Prize, traveled with his beautiful bride Coretta all the way over to Oslo, Norway to accept. We heard from Bertha and some wisdom around economic unity from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We heard from RK3 around some words that came from RK1, his grandfather, and some beautiful history lessons. And we just heard from our dear friend, Ralph Randall, giving homage to the bold leadership of his grandmother, Eva Marie Johnson. This has been your Black History Moment. Thank you all so much for your attention, and thank you so much for the learning that has taken place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're just going to ask everyone to thank you all so much for sharing. We're going to ask everyone to just give one 30 to 45-minute comment just about this experience and the opportunity to share Black history and Black culture in this way. Just about 30 to 45 seconds.
All right. Well, I'll kick it off, and it's what I told our congregation at Sunday during our 2 services, 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Although we're in Black History Month, every day is Black History Month, because America would not be what it is and who it is without the contributions of people that look like us. And so keep that in mind as we go forward. Lots of wonderful contributions toward the success of this nation.
Absolutely, Kevin. This has been an amazing experience. Thank you for the opportunity to serve and to speak and to articulate my voice on this platform. As I said earlier, any platform is that of being grateful. And I will continue to say we must unify in this climate right now. No matter what it looks like, we have to stay true to the course of action of unifying, being community, and coming together. And I look forward to doing that collaboratively as I go forward. So thank you again.
I want to also say thank you in the spirit of gratitude. I've learned so much, taken down so many notes. So thank you all for sharing today. And I'm honored, and I'm going to pay it forward and continue to share today's message and each day that we fill this platform for the next 30 days and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for having me. I want to reiterate that Black history or Black history is your story. And I want to encourage everybody to keep capturing your stories. Do not believe that your life and your experiences and even your trials and your tribulations are mundane. Those are elements, those are experiences meant to grow you, and capture each lesson. And once you capture each lesson and you apply them and you learn and you grow from those, then tell somebody else how you made it over, how you made it through, because your story is their inspiration.
I want to thank you all for your patience. I think, in fact, that that's something that we must do with each other, is to be patient and give each other grace. And so I thank you for that. I definitely enjoyed this opportunity and will share it. And I can't wait to hear whatever the feedback's going to be for those who might be listening around the country to what you all are doing. I mean, I am very, very excited about the fact that we are really deciding to tell our story. God bless. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Smiley. Thank you, Tanisha. You're on mute. It's been a joy. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you all for being
Thank you.
here, and we'll be back again tomorrow at the same time at 9 a.m. For anyone who is still wanting to be a part, you can definitely check the comments for the link and join and to share a fresh and new person who we maybe haven't heard about in our Black culture. Thank you so much.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you.